Happy Devil's Wednesday. This is the State of the Fan Address, episode 187, titled A Perfect 10. I repeat, a perfect 10. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Pucks and Pitchforks blog editor-in-chief Nick Villano, streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network, coming to you live from the Primetime Radio Bunker Studios and that South Jersey studio of Nick Villano. What's up, Nick?
I have a friend, apparently. Somebody wanted to be on the podcast. Somebody wants to get famous. It's my cat. His name is Batman, and he's going for a walk. What are you doing, dude? All right, whatever. Clearly, there's a lot of excitement around here for this 10-game winning streak that we are currently on, and it includes the excitement of Batman. Sam, are you excited?
I'm excited, but once a black cat crosses your camera, that sometimes leads to bad luck. If you go back in sports history of the black cat that walked out at Shea Stadium, the Miracle Mets days, are you superstitious?
I only refuse to watch the game if I miss the opening faceoff, so, no big deal. Oh, buddy. Stop doing that. My cat is bad. Okay. Carry on. Yeah, I am superstitious. Some might even say I'm a little stitious. But yeah, no, I grabbed him before he made a full trot across the camera. So you didn't see the full cross?
Oh, thank
maybe
goodness.
Maybe that just means we'll lose against the Maple Leafs and then move on with our lives.
Or well, I haven't shaved since the Capitals game. And I'm worried. I'm really worried because I'm starting to look a lot more fugglier than I normally am fugly.
Yeah, I didn't go that far. It's not playoff time. Playoff time, maybe I'll do the beard. Maybe. I got to think about it though. 'Cause, we got jobs, Sam. We got to think about the jobs.
Yeah, we got to think about our public image in front of our fans.
I did grow a playoff beard. Funny story. I grew a playoff beard for 2012. I didn't shave it for the entire time. And I ended up in a background shot of the Jersey Shore, the TV show.
Yep.
With the beard. It was in the middle of the Stanley Cup Finals. It was on one of the off nights. Me and my wife, my now wife, went to karaoke with a friend. And the Jersey Shore people ended up coming there. So, what are they like? They air like 6 months later or whatever it is. 6 months later, I get a bunch of texts. Do you have a beard? Just like 6 or 7 people that I hadn't talked to in a while. I'd just be like, do you have a beard? I'm like, I don't know how to answer that. I guess, kind of. Like, because I have what it looks like now. But back then I had, it got pretty extensive. But everybody's like, do you have a beard? Like, what do I do that? And then I realized later that night, because I asked them, I was like, why is everybody asking me this? And it's like, you're on an episode of the Jersey Shore. Some guy looks just like you, but with a giant beard. I was like, oh yeah, that is me. Oh, okay. So yeah, I never actually watched that show.
Yeah.
I guess because I lived there and I knew who these people were, I was just like, oh, okay. We thought it was the real world. Funnily enough, that first season before it ever aired, we thought they just did a real world season at the Jersey Shore. We're like, oh, okay, whatever. MTV did a lot of stuff in Tom's River and Seaside Heights. They were there all the time.
A lot
of the.
Go ahead.
A lot of, remember that show Made, or
yep.
I Want to Be, or whatever it was. They aired a lot of those episodes in those towns. The Made that was Prom King, that was in Tom's River.
Yeah.
There's a couple others, but yeah, they had a bunch of us fill out forms, be like, "What do you want to be made into?" And everybody was like, "Cheerleader." It's like, well, they've done that one already. You need to find something more creative. But anyway, what were you gonna say, Sam?
Oh, I was gonna say Beer Baron was on MTV once.
Oh, Sam, by the way, did you email me a link?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, that's my fault. We're all good.
Did you get the link? It's the same link
looking.
from last time. Hey, let me improvise here. Do you know what this is, folks? This is an experiment that I'm doing. This is not working. So it's part of the beta version of our podcast. And now we lost Nick. His video screen, all that. Now we got technical problems. Not good. Not good, folks. So now I have to take over the podcast before our next guest comes on. His name is James Nichols from the fourth period. And as Nick is trying to be a technical engineer and trying to fix his computer, I will fix it for him because something's gone wrong. Something has gone wrong, and I'll fix it for him. There you go, Nick. Stop screwing around with the computer.
Well, I had to screw around with the computer. I had to change the ports.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
I also never got a link from you. You said, yeah, I never got anything from you.
It was from the Gmail account. Let me resend that to you. It's the same link as last time, but you see what happens when we do stuff on air, live air. We should have discussed this prior
this is my fault.
to the podcast because I sent it to you at 4:01 p.m. 4 hours ago, and I'll re-forward that to you, Nick, on live air, just so you get it and you see that I did send it to you. It's from Sam Wu.
Is that maybe it went to spam?
Have you been flagging my annoying emails now? That's a question I want to know. I don't know. But this tinfoil idea was given to me by an audio engineer to help us out with our live events at American Whiskey, which, oh my goodness, is going to be a guinea pig on live air for Game Day Live, possibly on Monday. And they said it's supposed to cure all the problems with cell phone interference going in with our headsets. And so far, it's kind of working, but I'm not sure. But if you hear static, then we know it doesn't work. Anyway, I'm just stalling because I think Nick is trying to do something right now. But the Devils...
Yeah, I found it was the 28th, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I found the link, so I sent
You didn't get my second email?
I didn't. No, something's going wrong, but it's okay. Hopefully this works.
You've banned me from your email box because every time I email you, Nick, I get needy. I'd be like, Nick, I need more Twitter followers. Can you help me out?
Yeah, I didn't get any of those emails. So if you're sending me those, I have very much ignored those.
I'm kidding around, but I'll know for next time to send it from a different email address.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I just honestly, usually I'm like, full disclosure, you'll send me the link email, and I'll look and be like, oh shoot, and then I'll send it to our guest, and then because I'm like, once I send the rundown, I'm like, oh, I'm good. But, yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Tonight is a night where Batman won't stop bothering me.
You see, now I'm scared about the Devil's streak now. You're not getting my emails. Guests are waiting. You got the black cat crossing the camera. I don't know.
Cats and dogs living together.
You're having technical problems, too, with your feed.
Yeah, it's
you get
not
that,
great.
Yeah, but anyway. Our next guest, he's in the green room right now.
Oh, okay.
I'll let you know. Yeah. He's a hot commodity amongst the Devils fans. He's from the fourth period, Devils correspondent, James Nichols. You can find him on Twitter at James Nichols NYI. James, you're on with Sam and Nick. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, fellas. How are you guys?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Sorry, it's been crazy a little bit tonight, but we got you on. Everything's good. And listen, I got to say, James, you come on the beat things changed a little bit around here. I gotta say, do you take any credit for the success of the New Jersey Devils?
I've been hearing that for a couple weeks now. I'm here, and then things are going well. Um, can't take any of the credit. Just happened to pop in at a good time when the boys all decided to step their game up. So it's just a mere coincidence, but a good one no less.
And the Islanders aren't doing too bad either. So I think it might be you.
Yeah, some people have said the same. I think there's something like, I don't know, 18 wins in like the last 2 weeks between the two teams. So yeah, things are going well on both ends.
And something that went really well last night was Jack Hughes. Yada yada. Last night, a lot of that went away. It all started with that interview in Canada where he was like, "We're on a 9-game heater. What are you talking about?" And then he just did the little thing, like score 2 goals and get a first assist on Jesper Bratt's goal. So, what is he unquestioned the best guy in the team, or like how are we looking at Jack Hughes right about now?
Yeah, I mean, I think he definitely has, amongst all the players, the most skill. I think the only question with him is whether he can stay healthy or not. He has yet to prove that he will be able to do that for the duration of an 82-game season. But no doubt that he has the most skill on the team. I mean, there's been plenty of comparisons between him and Patrick Kane, and I think that that's plenty fair. I think they have very similar play styles. But no doubt that he is definitely the most skilled on the New Jersey Devils. Now, it took him a little while to get going. And yes, you're correct. He did have a point per game pace to this point in the season. I think he's a little bit over that now. But I thought that he was just playing good hockey, not great hockey. And I think the team around him was playing really well, and he was a beneficiary of that. But last night, in that game in Canada, he really just, burst onto the scene there. I think that was the start of maybe him turning things on a little bit. So he had a good game in Montreal, like you said, 2 goals and another assist. So if he can keep this going, they were doing really well already, and if he's going to start to pop off now, you can only imagine how much better they're going to get.
So just a follow up to the Hughes stuff. In the middle of the game, they switched his line mates. From I believe he started with Sharangovich and Bratt, and then he ended up with Mercer and Holla, which it seems like is like a 6 or 7 set of line mates. Do you think that has anything to do with the inconsistency in output? Is that one night he's with Holla, one night he's with Sharangovich, one night he's with Bratt, one night he's with Mercer, one night one night he's with Palat, one night he's with Holtz. Do you attribute this merry-go-round of partners to maybe some of his inconsistency?
Yeah, I guess that's a good way of putting it. They're trying to figure out who his best line mates are that complement him, right? Because you don't want to break up who Nico Hischier's playing with right now in Fabian Zetterlund and oh my God, Jesper Bratt, sorry. And they're playing really well right now as a trio. And Sharangovich was a player that Hughes played with last year. Hal is a new player that he's, the Devils are also trying to get him going a little bit this year. He has yet to score a goal. So I think it's a little bit on both sides, trying to find the right line mates for Jack Hughes, the ones that complement him the best. I think they did depend on Alexander Holtz taking that next step and having a natural distributor in Jack Hughes play with a natural sniper like Alexander Holtz. That didn't quite happen. So I think they're, just shuffling the deck chairs and trying to see which line fits best or which wingers fit best with Jack Hughes. And, a little bit has to do with him not maybe doing his best at elevating his line mates, but also, maybe he's also not being equipped with the best line mates that suit him. So I think they're trying to still mix and match and figure that out. And, it is possible that, maybe Fabian Zetterlund would be a good fit for him because, as you can see right now, I think he's actually the league leader among rookies in the shot department. So he's not afraid to shoot the puck. Nice. Yeah, he's not afraid to shoot the puck, and that might complement a guy like Jack Hughes really well. But why are you going to move him off a line with Nico Hischier and Jesper Bratt when that's just really clicking right now?
Yeah, and that's kind of like the struggle there because, and for a while there they had Tatar on that line. Tatar was kicking butt for a while. So it's trying to figure out how much, can you just put Jack Hughes, because Nico Heischer is kind of playing the Jesper Bratt role this year, where everybody you put him on a line with, that line becomes the top line on the team.
Right.
So, I feel like there's an argument both ways, but it's early and we've won 10, and the Devils have won 10 games in a row. So these are small problems in the grand scheme of things. So I think we're in good shape. One of the reasons the Devils are in good shape, the defense, the blue line, comparing the blue line now to what it looked like 2 years ago, right before they got PK Subban, or even when they got PK Subban, that version of PK Subban, it's night and day. And the big acquisition this year, John Marino, they traded Ty Smith and a third-round pick, and they got a guy who's playing like he wants to win the Norris this year. James, is this the greatest trade of all time?
Well, it's certainly a good one. I've been banging that drum since the beginning of training camp, when I saw him in person, for the first time on an everyday basis, and I turned over to some of the other Devils writers that were there at the time, and I said, "Is it just me, or does John Marino possibly look like the best defenseman out there right now?" And the consensus was pretty much yes. He looks excellent. He's good in all three zones. And this is something I had said to, our friend Ryan Novozinski the other day. Was I was listening to a couple of national radio broadcasts, and when they were talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins, the phrase that kept being used about John Marino and his contract was Pittsburgh was able to, quote unquote, get rid of John Marino's contract. And I consistently ask myself the question, why did they want to do that? Because this guy, man, he's a top four defenseman who gets put out, with the toughest minutes against the opponent's best skaters. Pretty much does his best at shutting them down, right? I think when they played the Edmonton Oilers, he held Connor McDavid to like just 1 point, which is a rarity right now, because I think he's scoring like 2.5 points a game. It's one of the better trades that I've seen in recent history, because you get a top four defenseman who can play a top pairing role for basically peanuts. And I just, again, consistently ask myself every day, why would the Pittsburgh Penguins want to have gotten rid of John Marino and his contract? I guess the answer there is because they brought in Jeff Petrie, but now he's injured. So you see kind of how that's working out for Pittsburgh. Not too good. Yeah. It's probably a player they're kicking themselves right now and saying, why did we move John Marino?
One of the coolest things I've seen in sports happen this weekend, when the New Jersey Devils fans chanted "Sorry, Lindy" in front of that massive crowd for the Arizona Coyotes game. It made national headlines. It was I saw it on Fox News, did a story on it, and the AP had a story on it. And so you're seeing like these national outlets talking about the New Jersey Devils doing this chant for "Sorry, Lindy." Have you seen anything remotely like this before in your career?
Not like that, no. Normally when you see things going this way, when you see things start to go south at the beginning of a season that quickly, right? It was one of those things where it just felt like if this goes on for another game or two, it feels like the writing is already on the wall for Lindy Ruff, right? 2 games in, the fans are calling for his job. Andrew Brunette is waiting in the wings. Like, how much longer can they allow this to go on, right? The organization wants to put, butts in seats and sell tickets. And if this continues, that's not going to happen, right? Well, sure enough, those chants and maybe some encouraging words from Miles Wood, basically saying, I don't want to be on a bad team anymore, lit a fire under this team. And, they're now playing for their coach. They're now playing for their veterans. And, they've bought into the system. They've bonded together. And, obviously they put on this what is turning out to be a historic run, right? It's the 3rd longest win streak in franchise history. So I've never seen anything like this quite before. And it's funny because, I got to work a little bit early that day, and I had seen, what was really a party going on outside of the Prudential Center, where you guys were hosting a live show and everything was going on at American Whiskey. And I actually met, the Brat Pack that night, and, he gave me a little insight, and he was like, hey, we're doing this in the second period. And I was like, oh, wow. Like that's really interesting. But I really didn't know what to expect until it started to break out. And everybody in that arena was chanting "Sorry, Lindy," and he handled that so perfectly when they chanted "Fire, Lindy," and he handled it even better when
Yeah.
he had heard about the "Sorry, Lindy." He said something along the lines of, I accept, and one day we will all have a laugh and a beer about this. And I just thought that was perfect. He's doing a real good job behind the bench. He's helped bring in a real good coaching staff around him, and he's done a real good job with the message in the room. So it's a really cool, unique story, and something that you don't see happen very often.
No, absolutely not. I will say, at that pregame show, we did mention a "Sorry, Lindy" chant with Chico. Chico Resch has always been a big proponent of Lindy Ruff. I believe that they go back a little while. I
Yeah,
think they were on the Islanders together. So it did
sure.
get mentioned. I saw the rumblings, so I mentioned it to Chico just because he was like, "How about Lindy Ruff?" I was like, "How about a Sorry Ruff chant? Wouldn't that be good?"
Yeah,
But,
sure.
Brat Pack is definitely the guy who's been putting that together. It's definitely, but if you listen to that pregame show, you would have heard it first. Who knows? You got to check in. But anyway, moving on. Last month we talked to you. I think it was actually a little over. I think it was last week of September we spoke to you. We asked you
Mhm.
a lot. And obviously in September, you're only going on preseason. And they had a good preseason, but you're still kind of like skeptical. And we talked about the goaltending. It was looking really good between Blackwood and Vitek Vanacek. Vanacek looked especially good in the preseason. And you told us that you thought that the goaltending could do pretty well. You got that from one. Vanacek, you're getting that from right now. I believe since that first loss where he didn't look very good, he's been phenomenal. I think he's 7-0 off the top of my head. He's got like a 948 save percentage since that first game. Is he the starter? Like unqualified? Like is it over? Is he going to be if the playoffs come playoff time? Do you think he's going to be the guy in the net?
Yeah, I would think so, right? Mackenzie Blackwood has a couple weeks before he comes back from injury anyway, and it might take him a little bit of time to get acclimated. And who knows, he doesn't have the best history of staying healthy, a la why he's out right now. So I think that they're going to continue to ride the hot hand. And, the thing about Vitek Vanacek is I wrote about this a couple weeks ago, actually just last week, and I did some research on him. And this is something that we maybe should have seen coming with Vitek Vanacek, because I don't know who handles the goaltenders in Washington, but just looking into the simple advanced analytics on Natural Stat Trick, you see that last year Vitek Vanacek made 8.5 or more. I think it was 8.6 goals above anticipated. I'm sorry, 8.5 saves above anticipated last year in 42 games. So that's 8.5 goals throughout the season. Per game that he was saving more than what he was supposed to. So it looks like, in my opinion, Washington didn't have the best defense in front of them. They're a very run and gun team. They sacrificed a little bit of defense. And it resulted in a guy who had like a 908 save percentage. And I don't think that, Vanacek is going to continue to have this, 940 save percentage he's had in like the past couple of weeks. But I don't see any reason why he can't be a 915, 920 save percentage guy. And with a team like this, who doesn't give up, more than 25 shots a game, you don't need anything more really than like a 910 league average, right? And if he's giving you 915, 920, you can see a real situation here where the New Jersey Devils are a lock for the top two in the Metropolitan Division, a lock for the playoffs, and they could be dangerous in the postseason. So I do think if this continues, I don't anticipate a 940 save percentage continuing, but something like 915, 920. If they get that from him, the Devils can surely stay the course that they're on right now and compete for first, second place in the Metropolitan Division, surely a playoff position, and be a legitimate team going into the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I think it's his net until proven otherwise, unless he goes in this real cold streak and Blackwood gets his chance. I don't see any reason why they won't continue to ride this hot hand.
Out of curiosity, I didn't ask this beforehand, so if you have no idea, that's fine. But do we have any idea what the timetable is for Bernier? Do we know if Jonathan Bernier is ever coming back?
I have heard whispers that he might not. You know, I do believe that he wants to, and that's obviously why he's still around the team. And he, you know, there was that other whisper where he was possibly coming back around Thanksgiving. He did mention about a week ago he had another minor setback, and you know, sometimes minor can actually mean major, and so it's really unclear as to what's going to happen with him. There have been whispers that he will play again this year. It won't be for some time at this point now since he's had the setback, but there is also that outside chance that he may never play again. So no clear-cut answer there, but that's just what we're hearing.
Yeah, it was more of a curiosity because it was funny. I actually made a prediction that he was going to play a lot more than we thought preseason. Like in the preseason, I predicted that this season we'd see him a lot more than we expected. And that was because of Blackwood's injury history. Vitek Vanecek never held a starting role or like a number one role like this. And Schmid and Dawes, I didn't think were ready. Although, Schmid looked really good in his start and in his
not bad, right?
Relief performance. Yeah, he looked really good. I will eat crow. I said that Dawes was the right move to call up. I was incorrect. And that's fine. You know, you make a lot of calls in this business, James, as you know. You make a lot of predictions. And if you're doing like a 300 batting average, you're a Hall of Famer even in this business. If you're batting 300 on your predictions, you're doing pretty good. Sam, did you have a question or?
Well, I had a prediction that Lindy Ruff would do well this season.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will say, Sam, I forget who our guest was that week when the Devils lost that second game. I said, Sam, you can't back Lindy anymore. I said it. I should say sorry, Sammy. Sorry, Sammy.
No, that's okay. Like, that's okay. I caused enough problems with this podcast.
Yeah, I was like, you can't back Lindy because it just wasn't there. And you know, James, I wrote an article it had to be a couple weeks ago where I said how to save your job in 10 days. I guess I should have waited and said made it how to save your job in 10 games because this 10-game win streak his seat went from the hottest in the league, where he was the betting favorite to be the first coach fired, to ice cold. Like, he can lose 5 games in a row, and I don't think he would be in trouble. He'd have to right the ship after that, but I think he's earned a little leeway, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's obviously got he's got the players playing the way he wants. He's got the team playing the way he wants, and you know, the message is really resonating with the players, so much so that Nico Hischier pretty much says it on an everyday basis. You know, we'll ask him, you know, what's going on in the first period where you come out slow and you're playing from behind, and he'll say, you know, we say to each other, and it comes from Lindy, don't get too high, don't get too low. If we're behind, don't get too low about it. We're still in this, and we can come back, and we can win this game. If we're up, you know, ahead a goal or two, we don't get too high either. And we say to ourselves that we have to, you know, keep the pedal to the metal and finish this game, a full 60-minute effort. So that message starts from Lindy, and you know, it's something that he's preached for the 16, 17 games now, and you know, he's funny enough, had some whispers with the national media with the way too early predictions of, is Lindy Ruff a Jack Adams finalist?
Maybe. Hey, that would be something to have back-to-back Jack Adams finalists on the team.
Yeah.
And there's some whispers about Andrew Burnett, about what could happen with him in the near future, but we'll get to that when we have to get to that. Nobody's been fired yet. Everybody still has their job, so we can hold off on any predictions with that. But James Nichols, the fourth period. James, what do you got coming up? Where can people find your content? What do you got coming up that you're excited about?
Yeah, so I have a call scheduled with the general manager pretty soon, and I'm going to be doing an interview just highlighting some of a certain player who I've been very excited about to cover and talk to this season. So that's on the horizon. Tomorrow, I'm actually hosting a Twitter space at 4 p.m. if you so obliged to attend with our friend Ryan Novozinski on Twitter. So if you go to my feed, you'll see the Twitter Spaces scheduled, and you can set your reminders. And you can find me, you know, on Twitter at James Nichols NYI. I did make an Instagram because who the hell knows what's going to happen on the Bird app? some crazy stuff going on there.
You hope the Twitter Space happens because Twitter could shut down overnight. We just don't know.
Yeah, we just have no idea.
I love Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. We'll see what the future looks like. I ultimately think everything will be okay over there, but I did make that Instagram just in case you guys want to follow me there, in case the Bird app shuts down and you need somewhere to follow the content. So you can find me at James Nichols NHL on Instagram for my my Devils content.
Well, so glad to hear it. Thanks for jumping on with us, James Nichols. James Nichols, the fourth period. Great to have so many people covering the Devils who are so passionate about the game. Glad that you came on and brought us this 10-game win streak, James. Really appreciate you doing that for us because we were getting pretty sad here for a while there. So, James Nichols, catch him on the fourth period. We'll share that Twitter space tomorrow with Ryan Novozinski. Thanks again for stopping by.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm looking forward to the next one.
And come back to American Whiskey.
Oh, yeah. Let me know. I'll be there.
We'll let you know. All right.
Sounds good, fellas.
Thanks, James.
Thanks, James.
Have a good one.
That's James Nichols of the fourth period. We're inviting him back to American Whiskey. I didn't know that he was there.
Yeah, people stopped in. It was crazy.
It was a madhouse.
It was crazy.
It's a madhouse. And this is what I'm doing. I'm experimenting with some tech for American Whiskey.
That looks like you're trying to talk to aliens, Sam. That's what that looks like.
Somebody told me that
or
you're
trying to stop the aliens from talking to you.
It's the problem with some of our with American Whiskey, some of our tech there, and I've been honest with our fans. There are so many cell phones and Bluetooths on. We're getting interference in our line, so I'm testing. Like I've got 3 cell phones here, trying to test it to see if it's going to buzz, do all sorts of stuff, and it actually works. Believe it or not.
Do you know, this has no bearing on anything, but I'm going to tell you a story that just popped into my head. Some guy in Europe bought like 25 or 30 cell phones, put them in a like a wheelbarrow, turned on Google Maps, and just was walking with Google Maps. And Google Maps thought there was bumper-to-bumper traffic where he was walking. So it rerouted everybody around. I was like,
that's hilarious.
Technology, while great, is still super flawed.
Yeah.
It can be manipulated. So it's interesting how, back in the day, you didn't have to worry about somebody tapping into your lines or interfering with your lines like this. And now with so many things sending messages to satellites and sending messages all across the country and the towers, 5G towers, and it's a wild world we live in, Sam. But we gotta, just like we did at the beginning of this podcast, we are big on the guess and check. Something's going on very quickly. There was a moment there, Sam, where my face was behind a piece of tape. Wasn't great. So we had to pivot. I don't know what's going on. I'm not sure if it's the wire or if it's the camera or if it's.
Well, we almost lost the YouTube live feed. I was texting you before.
I saw that. That's
I was getting worried because I was only kidding around about Batman. Nothing personal against Batman, and all of a sudden, all this crap was happening.
And funny story about Batman is he was he was very, very needy to get on my lap. I wasn't paying attention, and I'm Italian, Sam. I talk with my hands sometimes.
Yeah.
So he tried to jump on my lap as I said something with my hand, and I backhanded him in the face on accident. He freaked out because he was like, I don't know where I'm going. So I'm now bleeding on my leg because he clawed me a little bit there. It's a wild night, Sam.
It is a wild night, and
I might have to skip this game tomorrow. I don't think it's gonna go well. I'm just kidding.
You brought the good luck. You brought James Nichols on. Okay,
so
I mean, if I were him,
I gotta say, Tom Fitzgerald is making the rounds. He's making the rounds.
He should make the rounds on this podcast. Have we tried? Have we attempted yet?
I'm building up to that. I got a special guest from the Devils coming on in a couple weeks.
Oh, good.
After they come on, maybe we'll ask. I got another ask in my bank. Everybody's asking for Tommy Fitz. Sam, I got another one up my sleeve.
Let me work on Lindy. We want to have a beer with him.
Cool. I want if we could get
and-
Lindy and American Whiskey,
Yeah.
can we try to get him on an off night? We can do.
This is what we do. We send my articles from pucksandpitchforks.com to Lindy. It's all time stamped, and he's going to be like, "Wow, there's somebody that actually wanted me to stay." Okay, well, you know what? That guy deserves that attention.
So we'll ignore my articles that I never call. I don't call for jobs. I try. I question what's happening. You liked Lindy when he got hired. I remember going on the podcast, and I was like, I don't know what's going on here.
First 3 seconds, I did not. But when I thought about it, I did. The first, maybe 3 minutes, it's the reactionary. Oh, my, are you nuts? And then you're like, hey, that's actually not bad.
I think the issue at first was that he was a Rangers guy. And he struggled with the Rangers because they put him in a weird spot.
Yep.
Remember, they had him coaching the defense.
Yep.
And Lindy Ruff has a very good offensive system. Why are you having him coach the defense? It was just a brain dead move by what was that? It was David Quinn, right?
Yep.
Brain dead move by the Rangers over there. And I'm not going to say that I think Lindy did a great job the past 2 years. I just don't think anybody could have done a good job in the past years. I think that's kind of where it's at.
Well, I don't want to read into it too much. Sorry to interrupt. But I caught something what James Nichols said, that he brought in his own staff. I think that's what James Nichols said.
Okay.
And, we talked about this before with Mark Recchi and Nazardine. I mean, Nazardine was basically, oh, no, he's staying.
Yeah, that was
Did Lindy Ruff was not able to bring in his own people? I mean, granted, it was during a pandemic. Granted, it was not exactly a greatest of times to be recruiting great talented coaches at that time period. It was almost like kind of all right, let me get here. Let's get things rolling. We haven't played hockey in 9.5 months. We'll figure it out. In all fairness to Lindy, if he didn't have, I mean, they spent a long time getting these coaches. McGill, calling up Sergey Brelin, obviously Andrew Burnett. And Andrew Burnett, I'm sure, had offers elsewhere or had other opportunities, but he picked the New Jersey Devils, so that says something. And, I think Lindy assembled a pretty good staff with Tom Fitzgerald. And I honestly think that Lindy really, was put in a bad position coming from the Rangers spot. And, now he's got the help he needs. I mean, we're talking about building a team.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious how much of the decision for Brunette was his.
Yeah.
That just feels like a GM's decision. Not that I think that Fitzgerald wanted Ruff insurance per se, but maybe a Ruff successor.
Could be.
Ruff is, what is he, 62?
No, I think he's 67. 66.
Is he that old?
I'll look it up.
That's a lot of time on the road, Sam. And we kind of talked. Were we talking about this?
Oh, he's 62. He's 62. Sorry.
Okay.
Yep.
But him and talking to Chico and kind of seeing how Chico talks about, the passing of Mike Bossy and how they embraced after that. And there's just something about seeing your teammates or your friends or things like that pass away of not tragic diseases. Or, it's one thing to see your friend pass away in an accident or something tragic. It's another to see them die of a disease. It's always tragic to see someone die before, life expectancy and things like that. But once you get to that age, it happens. Once you're in your 60s, people start to pass. And, that puts things in perspective for some people, especially in this business.
Yep.
because you're so go, 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 go. And then something like that happens at like, stop. And it happened, what was Bossy's passing, like a year ago?
Less than that.
Yeah. So it's still pretty fresh in their minds. I think Lindy wanted to see this through. I think he wanted to get what I think is what he's the number one active guy. What was he, 4th all time in wins?
Yeah.
He wanted to move up the list. I'm sure that was part of it. He's thinking of his legacy. He's thinking of a lot of things, but if I'm him, I'm not. He's not going to be here for 10 years. Can't see that happening. I just can't see Lindy Ruff. I can't see any coach. This isn't anything against Lindy Ruff. I can't see any coach doing this past 65. I'm surprised he's doing it in the 60s. It's such a rough life, Sam. Just constant.
You saw Barry Trotz taking a timeout. He got
Maurice
offers.
took a timeout.
Yeah. You get
in the
burnt
middle of the
out.
season. He was just like, can't do it. And like to come in to this franchise, your first season is the COVID shortened season after he had to sit with the Rangers for, what was it, 3 months, paused.
Yep.
And then did he go with them to the bubble playoffs? He didn't, right? Because he got hired by the Devils.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
Maybe he did go to the bubble. Let's just say he went to the bubble, right? So the season gets put on pause. You go to the bubble. You get trounced in the bubble. So then you come back after all that stress. You get hired by the Devils. You have a very short offseason and an extremely short training camp. And in that training camp, even though that training camp was short, you still had your backup goalie, who is a 2-time Stanley Cup winner, retire. So now you have to figure that out. The offense never clicks. They just couldn't get the defense, and you're on to season 2. Season 2 is still, because of how late the Stanley Cup playoffs went in that other shortened season. The next season is truncated, but it's still 82 games. So not a lot of off days, not a lot of time off, not a lot of time to sit back and be like, what is going on? How do I fix this? We're losing goalies. We have 7 goalies playing for us this year. How do I fix this? How do I fix the power play? How do I fix the defense? What is going on? You don't have time to do that because you're playing every other night. There's no practice time. There's no time to put anything into place.
Yep.
And to deal with that back-to-back seasons and now to come off on a positive note, and if he went to Jack Adams, I would drop the mic and just retire right then. Because and we got a long way to go before that, but he's got to be number 1 in the clubhouse right now.
Yeah.
He's doing such a phenomenal job, and I got to give credit where credit is due. This is coaching. I don't like how he's treated Hughes, but that is my only gripe. My only gripe on this entire team is that he hasn't allowed a line to gel with Jack Hughes. I wasn't thrilled that he kept Holtz out of the lineup, but he's doing it for a reason. And I want to make 2 points about Holtz, since we're on the topic. One, because a lot of people asked, one of the reporters asked Lindy, do you want to send Holtz down to the AHL? And he's like, we've had the conversation about it. 2 things on that. One, the reason Holtz isn't in the lineup right now is speed. And he's not going to learn speed in the AHL because the AHL is so incredibly slower than the NHL. It is like going at third speed. 2, Alexander Holtz makes incredibly more money in the NHL. Being a healthy scratch makes Alex Holtz, it's like $925,000 a year. Going down to the AHL and being a superstar makes Alexander Holtz, I think, $250,000 a year. Think about that, Sam. Would you, if I told you as a human being, like I know star athletes, maybe they think different than us, but as a human being, Sam, if I said, I want you to develop here, practice with the NHL team, and watch the games, and I'm going to pay you close to $1 million a year, or I want you to put your body on the line and go play where you've already dominated and make 220. Like if you're asking me if I'm in those shoes, I'm saying keep me on this team. Let me show you that I can fix the issues that you have with my game. Let me build speed. And they're he's practicing with the speed coach. It seems like every single day.
Yep.
Let him do that. He's saying all the right things. Alexander Holtz is not a distraction. He's not anybody who's throwing anybody under the bus, blaming anybody else, being kind of a sourpuss. He's practicing, and then he goes about his life. I would pick that, Sam. What are your thoughts there?
Well, yeah, I don't think there's any benefit for Alexander Holtz to be down at the AHL level. The game speed's different. You're absolutely correct. But you know what? You see this in sports all the time, whether it's hockey or football. This is his first full year with the big club, and sometimes you need to ride the pine and earn your way.
I was wrong, Sam.
What's that?
Do you know what his minor league salary is?
What?
$80,000.
So it's worse.
It's about a 12th of his NHL salary.
Yeah, because I thought that was a little high. I'm like, wow, 200,000. Maybe I would want to play down there.
I mean, there's some guys. I think like the AJ Greers of the league, and those 26, 27-year-olds. I think they make around 200,000. I thought that was just the minimum, but no, yeah, his base salary, his total salary is $925,000. His minor league salary is $80,000. That is wild. Wow. So yeah, that just to give you perspective, his last year he was in the AHL. He's playing well, and he's making $2,000 every 2 weeks take home in New Jersey, or I guess New York.
It's pretty good money.
He's taking home $1,000 a week. He's taking home now $10,000 a week, maybe less. I don't know how the taxes will work out, but he's taking home $8,000 a week. He's putting, he's banking that money right now. So I think I don't know about you, Sam, but I know what I'm picking.
Oh, I'm picking NHL
every time.
Yeah, I mean, you want to be in that environment. You want to be with the best of the best league in the world. You don't want to be down or up in Utica on the bus. It's a waste of time. You want to be in the locker room. You want to be watching
private
film.
planes.
Yeah, you want to be at American Whiskey after the game.
Alexander Holtz is invited every single time.
Yeah,
if he wants to come hang out with us, let's go.
Yeah. Same with Dawson Mercer if you wanted to just hang out.
Well, he's got to play, Sam. He's busy.
No, I meant after the game.
Oh.
You can buy a beer now. Anyway.
Oh, is he 21?
Yeah, it's a little Devil's After Dark reference.
Okay. I'm sorry, Sam. I'm not cool enough to be on Devil's After Dark all the time.
Yeah. Well, you can listen.
I guess I could, Sam. I guess I could. On that note, Sam, it's time for plugs.
Oh, okay. What are you plugging?
On pucksandpitchforks.com. I had a piece on Jack Hughes. Just kind of the overall day that Jack Hughes on Tuesday. The talking smack to the Canadian reporter and the big game that
I
he had
like
against
the
Montreal.
tweet. Savage.
Yeah. Yeah. Then we had 3 kind of reaction pieces to the 10-game winning streak. New writer Dave Williams. He put a piece up there on the 10-game winning streak and why the fans really deserve this after a long time. Vinny Parisi had a piece up, just how this has been about as fun to be as Devils fan maybe ever. A lot of fan-focused, fan-centric stuff. David Holliday just had his general recap of the game against Montreal, so that was a big game. Dan Rice had a one-on-one with Dawson Mercer. Speaking of Dawson Mercer, he got to ask him 5 questions, so that was a lot of fun to edit. He asked him what he thought of number 91 and how we kind of landed on that one. So that was a fun way to end that article. So Dan Rice's article, pucksandpitchforks.com. Make sure you check it out. And Sam, you're about to go 2 for. So you had 1 go up over the weekend.
I couldn't believe
Ruff.
that. Was that a surprise?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Makes my day. But yeah,
pull that out of nowhere.
Ruff. And then I don't even know what's the one that's going up right after this podcast. What's that one about? I haven't even looked at it yet.
It's about the John Marino trade.
Oh, love it.
And it could be, when it's all said and done, the biggest fleecing in franchise history. I think this is going to be better than Taylor Hall. I think the impact is going to be unbelievable. You've got Marino locked up at a favorable rate for the next 5 years, including this year. And think about that. With Taylor Hall, that was a problem because you knew he was going to be an unrestricted free agent soon, and it dragged us through an entire mess. Arbitration, hearing, are they going to agree? Are they going to do this, that, whatever? And coincidentally, if Taylor Hall did not have – I didn't even write this in an article. I probably should have. If Taylor Hall did not have that MVP Hart Trophy season, they would have never picked Ty Smith in the following draft because the Devils made the playoffs. Where Ty Smith fell to the Devils around then, I'm telling you, it's the gift that keeps on giving with Taylor Hall. If that didn't happen, you wouldn't have Ty Smith to make that trade to Pittsburgh. Now, in fairness to Ty Smith, he doesn't suck, but a message was sent trading Zacha.
Is he in the NHL yet?
Well, he's in the AHL because apparently it's really salary cap. Like he doesn't belong in the AHL. He doesn't belong in the AHL. If you watch some of the games, he obviously is a but he never spent time in the AHL. He jumped right to the NHL from juniors. So, maybe he'll do some good for Ty Smith. And this is nothing against Ty Smith. It's just we didn't realize John Marino is a Norris Trophy-esque type. No, I wouldn't say Norris, but I'll tell you what, you're getting a 2-for-1 here. He's a shutdown defenseman, no doubt. He can keep up with the best of them. But also, he can actually contribute offensively as well, especially when some of it's been very timely.
And Smith has 7 points in 12 games, which obviously really good for a defenseman. It's hard to tell because plus minus is always flawed, but he's a -3. He has 6 penalty minutes in those 12 games, so those aren't I don't love that because Ty Smith's big issue was mistakes.
Yep.
From that first training camp that he was so the first year he got drafted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ray Shero kept him on the training camp roster, the preseason roster, until the last day. Ty Smith was the last cut. Do you remember that?
Yep.
And he was like, sorry, kid. It'll be better for your development if you go to I think he went to the WHL with the Spokane Chiefs, I think it is. Went to Spokane. I think he won Defenseman of the Year for the entire OHL.
Well, actually, he sucked. Didn't he suck for the first couple months and then turned it around when he went sent back down? I think if I remember correctly, like the first.
I just know he won Defenseman of the Year.
Yeah, because what happened was when he got cut and he had to go back. I think the first 2.5 months it was like, is he that bad? And then he just turned it around. But of course, just like the Binghamton Devils, season got short because of COVID.
Yeah.
So you never got to see like what would have transpired because he had all the momentum. Ty Smith, just like the Binghamton.
No,
team.
I think you're because you're mistaking seasons.
Am I really?
Yeah. So this is 2018-19 was the season that he almost made the team, and then he got cut.
Like his first training camp?
Yeah. He was the last cut. 2019-20 was the year that he was, everybody and their mother was like, okay, he was the last cut last year. He won OHL Defenseman of the Year. He's going to make the team. And he was awful. He was so bad that preseason. And Ray Shero, I think it was still Shero, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Ray Shero had no choice but to cut him and send him back to Spokane. Just go figure out what happened, kid. And he turned it around. He only won WHL Defenseman of the Year that year. Somebody else won OHL Defenseman of the Year.
No, I'm correct. The first when he went down, I'm going to look this up, but I remember talking to Chico about it that when he got cut, like he was almost written off at that point. Because
I'm not denying that part of it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying if the year is wrong. Because
hold on a sec. Yeah, he did well. He did well, but the beginning of that season where he did well, he didn't do well. I think he got off to even a slow start then.
But I'm not denying that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't remember that, but I'm not saying you're wrong because I honestly, I just remember he won the number one prize for defensemen in Canadian juniors hockey.
Yeah.
And then he was terrible in the preseason the next year. And then the year after that, he finished the season as the number one rookie defenseman. He was the top rookie defenseman in Vezina trophy voting. And then the next year, he just didn't have a good year last year. His upside is, because I want to say he plays like Subban, but he's built like Carlson. And it's not a great combination. Like, it sounds phenomenal, right? You want to be like Subban or Carlson. But you don't want to be Subban if you're built like Carlson. Because Subban makes up so much because of his size and speed and ability. And Carlson makes up so much because of his ability, his speed, his stick handling. Without the stick hand, if you have the stick handling of Subban with the size of Carlson, it doesn't work. And it was more decision making is where the comparison comes in. I guess I did a bad job of explaining this. He is somebody who's prone to a lot of mistakes, but prone to the big play. The problem is that Subban in his prime, his skill and his ability and his size allowed him to overcome the mistakes he was making. Honestly, do you know what Smith was, Sam? He was a poor man's Damon Severson.
That's one way to describe it.
You know what I mean? Like, I know he's left-handed and Severson's right-handed, but Severson makes mistakes, but he also makes stupid good plays. The problem was Smith would let a mistake unravel his entire game. What are you looking up?
I'm looking up to see who. Hold on a sec. I'm reading the timelines here. I'm reading Chris Ryan's article.
We got to invite Chris Ryan back on. I know he doesn't write anymore, but
You know
he's always a
what?
good
We
guest
should.
to have on.
We promised him when the pandemic is over, you're coming to have a beer with us wherever we're at. So we should.
We'll
we
invite
should
him
extend
American
that.
whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember
right,
when
Sam.
he used to do the text message stuff.
You
but
loved those texts.
I know. I felt like I was his friend when I would get the text from Chris Ryan.
Well, now we can have a beer with him. Maybe we'll invite him. Let's try to get Lindy to have that beer. He promised a beer for us, Sam. Let's try to get Lindy to have that beer.
You know what? Thank goodness I wrote that article on pucksandpitchforks.com back in February.
Yeah.
Because if I ever met Lindy face to face with a straight face, I could say, Lindy, I supported you from day one. I had to hold off the people with the pitchforks. I'm telling you.
Well, no. See, that's gonna point the finger at me because we're pucks and pitchforks. He's gonna
All
think
right,
you're
then
alluding
I'll use a different word. I held off those animals that wanted you fired. Anyway.
But that's all I got, Sam. We did plugs. I think it's music time.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. All right. All right, enough, Nick. Go to pucksandpitchforks.com. We got Game Day Live and Devils After Dark tomorrow when the Devils take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Anyway, till next time, let's go Devils.